Now streaming on YouTube. We are live.
Now let me
Woo!
run all the way through. Whoops. Okay, it's going on YouTube. Now let me just go in and
It's literally streaming on YouTube live right now. So
mine shows it's still spinning.
nope, it's on. We're on.
Let me hit record. Is it record on here?
Live on YouTube and recording. Hey everybody. Welcome to, what is this? Our third, fourth, fifth? We've lost track.
It's our first one on YouTube live.
First one on YouTube live. That's right.
But our
Brilliantly
fourth day of
Resilient Live.
recording the show.
I think so. Brilliantly Resilient Live. Boy, do we all need that right now. We need resilience. We need brilliance. And since Kristen and I have been talking about this for a long time now, we just decided to bring it out there. We were going to get all fancy and roll stuff out in the fall and make a really pretty show and all that.
It was going to be brilliant.
It was.
Now we just need to help people be resilient. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
We've been launching our program of Brilliantly Resilient and teaching everybody our tools of resilience from our own train wrecks. And now we're just going to give. We're just going to give all the tools that we have. We've been hosting some folks this week, and more people are lined up. Every day we are bringing this show, and we have, I mean, how about the people that are just saying, yes, I want to come on and teach people my own tools of resilience. So stick with us. You'll definitely be entertained.
Oh, you'll be entertained.
You never quite know what's going to happen around here. I'm just realizing I forgot to shut the office door, so there may be a dog, a child.
Maybe dogs. Who knows? Yeah. So we have, well, this is the way we're doing this really kind of fits with the whole idea that we talk about, this brilliantly resilient thing. And you know, a lot of what resilience is figuring stuff out on the fly, because there's no map for any of this. There's no playbook. What the world is going through now is, to say it's unique is just an understatement. I mean, you know, the Black Plague and all that kind of stuff that happened way back when is probably something comparable, but of course we have no knowledge of that. And it certainly has no real bearing on what's going on in the modern world and how our worlds have changed. But I think in terms of resilience, what it has shown is that, you know what, you can figure things out on the fly and we can make things happen. And no, they might not look exactly the way we wanted them to look. I mean, like Kristen said, we were going to make this all pretty and do this, you know, all this fancy stuff. But, you know, in this day and age, the important thing is connecting in community and getting messages out to people. So you dive in and you figure it out as you go. And that's what we've done. And we've had some really awesome people this week to whom we have already spoken, and more lined up, that have given us their tips about resilience and brilliance, two of whom have been our buddy Chip Baker and our friend Trisha Brook. And I'm going to toss it to you to tell us a little bit about them.
So before we do that, though, I wanted to make sure that we bring up the fact that what we were talking about before we went on air is, you know, we are bringing this show and all of our tools of resilience to everybody. And we have a lot of stuff that we've been through and we've learned. However, I think right now, this week, and this may carry over to be the biggest lesson for the next several weeks, but right now in my own personal life and in what I'm watching from other friends, is the number one lesson that I think people need to understand is Mary Fran's big lesson from her 15-minute master from her own train wrecks, is the whole, say your line the right way so I don't screw it up, about visiting.
Every time you enter a crisis or a period of challenge, you have a decision to make, because sometimes life just sucks. The question is, are you just visiting or are you going to live there?
Yes. Yes. It's brilliant. Because listen, this is how that translates right now. I have had breakdowns this week. I am a single mom, full time. I've got a college kid that is home, that is furious. I've got a freshman in high school that is not able to play sports, be at school, do her thing. She's furious. My middle child is happy as can be. One person
Mitchell.
in my house is happy
I
this
love
week
Mitchell.
because he's got YouTube. He's got his school hasn't gone online yet, so he is thrilled. And I've got 2 dogs that are so happy. But I just have had these breakdowns, and I just did it again at Costco because everybody's fear is feeding and contagious. And I just get in the car, and I was so frustrated that I have to. This is more figuring out than I've ever had to do in my life. And I understand that the whole world is trying to figure it out, and that does bring me a lot of comfort. However, it is one thing after the other of figuring out. So I had my breakdown, but then when I think about it, I think so many times people say bounce back, and people think that Kristen Smedley constantly bounces back. But that what Mary Fran teaches is so important, because I think you do have to sit there and visit with that feeling for a few minutes. Let the
Totally.
tears come. Don't deflect. Don't numb. Don't do any of that stuff. Just I sat in my Jeep and cried at Costco. And I thought,
And you probably weren't the only one sitting in
That's
your
what I was
car
thinking.
crying at Costco. You probably weren't. But I think that what you just said is so important, because, we talk about, positive energy and blah, 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 but you cannot deny what is going on in your life. And when you try to deny it, you don't give yourself an outlet for the anxiety. You cannot get through these things without recognizing them, honoring their existence. And I'm not saying honoring it as, oh, yeah, you're here. I don't mean it that way. I just mean honoring it as recognizing that it's legitimate. The feelings that you have are legitimate, regardless of, and the horrifying thing for people in this time that we're going through is the world is going through terrifying things. However, people's other stuff didn't stop to let this take its place. So some people are overwhelmed with mountains of stuff right now. And we have to encourage everybody to respect and acknowledge every crappy thing that you're going through. And that doesn't mean that when I say you're just visiting, that suddenly you're going to be able to get out of it. But you can get out of it for moments. And at this point, if that's the best we can do, get out of it for moments, then that's what we have to allow ourselves to do.
And that's what
watch something on TV, watch a cat video, whatever.
Yeah. I let myself have a pity party for 5 minutes in the Costco parking lot. I decided that was not a good time to go over and get in the gas line and fill my gas can, because I had the food. The kids needed me home. So I took a breath, dried my stupid tears, right? And then the thing that always makes me start to climb out of the pit is, how can I help somebody else? I don't know why that's in me, that if I can help somebody else, it helps me start to have my hopeful eyes again. So I put on Facebook, I said, just reach out to single parents that you know, because I have the tribe. I know that I can call. I was on a call with girlfriends last night on a happy hour on Zoom, and went through some of the stuff that I'm going through and they're not single moms. They don't fully understand, but they gave me the perspective from I needed a different perspective instead of wallowing, right? So I have that. So I reached out and said, go check in on your single parent friends. And now everybody's checking in on me. I'm like, I'm okay now. I had my moment. I've got paper towels, toilet paper, and burgers. I'm good. But that's how I start to climb out. And then we won't go into the whole thing today, but this is what we're teaching every day. There are other steps that we did, that I did today, because of the stuff that I know from the 2 of us and being brilliantly resilient. One of them was not getting a shower and getting out of my sweats that I've been in for 5 days. No judgment zone.
No judging. This is a no judgment zone.
You can barely see it. And quite frankly, and I do have a college kid doing his own laundry today.
Yay! Little victories. You know what though? Little victories. Like, those are the kinds of things that we have to recognize, that in this thing, we're not going to get the big victory right now.
No.
It's not there. So whether it's little victories about, something like that happens in your own home, it could be a little mental victory. Like, okay, I'm going to take 15 minutes and maybe do some yoga, go for a walk or whatever, and allow my brain to rest. And the other thing is, do not overwhelm yourself with negative news. You can't watch that stuff all the time and not be brought down, because, let's look at this quite factually. Of course, the number of cases are going to go up because the number of testing is going up. That doesn't mean these are new cases. Yeah. That means people are being discovered to have this. So if you get
Respect.
overwhelmed with that, yes, if you get overwhelmed with that information and don't understand the context of it, you're going to think the world's ending.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, we will survive this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tricky. I was saying to somebody the other day, I forget who I was talking to. Oh, I was on Twitter with some inspirational folks because I've had to stop reading the other threads of people that just want to gripe and bitch, right?
Yeah.
So I was on, and I said, here in Philly, we have KYW, and they say, give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world. So 22 minutes,
Yeah.
I turn it on. I find out if we are under, I don't watch the news, but I have to now because I do need to know if the roads are shut down, what
Right.
is the latest thing, and the schools, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, 22 minutes, I'm out. And then, maybe I said to the kids when I came home and unpacked, somebody turn on the news and find out if the roads have been shut down yet and when they might be. That's it. That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
Move on.
Well, and that's it. Keep your information to what you need to know. Be sensible. I mean, yes, if you have that thread of curiosity, which of course we all do, tune into it, but limit it. Do not have CNN on all day long on your phone. That's a terrible idea.
And here's what I'll also suggest, and it'll be our segue into our guest that we had this week. Balance it. So here's two people that you can go look up on social media. Chip Baker and Trisha Brook. And if you look on our we'll put it in the little description here on YouTube. And if you go back, if you're watching it through our Facebook group on Brilliantly Resilient, the videos are in there. And follow their stuff. They put out such positive, amazing, wonderful stuff that you can't help but feel like, okay, this is going to end soon and we're all going to be okay. Yeah. And there's one other person, Neen James. Go on her Instagram. Just go look up Neen James on Instagram.
Neen. Neen. Yeah. N-E-E-N.
She's not on our Brilliantly Resilient. She's on Four Chicks Chatting because Mary Fran and I are also a part of the Four Chicks Chatting podcast. And we got to talk with her yesterday. And when you look at her Instagram, just scroll. It's the happiest place on earth.
Happy things.
You can't help but smile going through Neen James' Instagram. But I wanted to highlight, in terms of resilience and being brilliantly resilient, Trisha Brook talked about 4 things that she looks at as setting you up to be resilient. When you live in gratitude, when you nurture your relationships, when you look at using this time of crisis and whatnot to innovate in your field or what it is that you're doing, and when you have empathy.
Right.
Go back and watch our video and she will elaborate on those things of why those 4 things, how they translate and why they're important.
And you know what I think is important to note too, when we talk about these things, and you and I have said this before, we're not teaching you anything new here. This is all stuff that you already know, that you already have in your toolbox, but we don't name it and we don't recognize it on a usual normal basis. Everybody experiences a gratitude. Everybody has relationships that they should nurture. Everybody can be innovative in their own way, and everybody can have empathy. So this is nothing that is, earth-shattering in the sense of, oh, I never heard of that before. I don't have that. Yes, you've heard of it. Yes, you have it. But somebody like Trisha, in the way that she brought it out yesterday, talks about it in terms of, again, and we talk about this a lot, a skill set that you can use to build up your resilience and to help you find ways to get through this. And I especially like the innovation part and the creativity part. These times when when they say necessity, I love cliches because there's always a kernel of truth in them. When they say necessity is the mother of invention, well, guess what? It is. Now that we can't do many things, people will start finding other ways to do things. So, look for those opportunities to be creative. And again, she's just, we knew certain things about her. We talked to her about, she has a big event coming up. It was a Speakers Who Dare, and it was about, speakers who were going to go and speak on a stage and all that. And she couldn't do it. So she found a different way. But she started telling us her story, and we were like, oh my gosh. She had so many sucker punches in her life that she had to surmount.
We never knew that.
No, we didn't. And there was a lot of it. So listen to that episode. Yeah. And I mean, when you see this woman and you see just how positive she is, you're going to be so inspired. Just take drops of it. You take drops of it and soak it up. And the same thing with Chip. I mean, he's our buddy, our Success Chronicles buddy.
I've been sharing his little video that he sent around that's 1 minute about having an attitude of gratitude, how it elevates your altitude.
Oh, I love that.
And okay, so I say that and whatever. Chip in his 1 minute video, go look on Brilliantly Resilient on Facebook because I put it there. I'm putting it everywhere, my Twitter, everywhere. And I send it to my kids because in his 1 minute, he does his give me a boom to the audience, and they're boom. And he's like, I need a better boom. And then it's just, you just smile with him. And he has the most extraordinary stuff comes out of his mouth in that voice of his that you're like this.
Yeah, he's this big, giant football coach, teddy bear man who's got the best voice and the best, most positive attitude. And he's just a delight. So, and he's always got, I love his grow through the go through line. That's one of my favorite all time lines. And he talks about how to do that. So,
and his Success Chronicles,
in the Success Chronicles.
You know what the thing is with Chip? And I was trying to put my finger on it, and then I figured it out. He cares about people.
He does.
He cares about everybody that is in his network, everybody look, I was in Houston for one of the biggest events of my life a few weeks ago. Houston was in this there was a water main break that half the city was shut down. It was a disaster. And Chip lives in the Houston area, not in downtown where I was. He made the trek, 45 minutes to come spend an hour with me sitting in the goofy little lobby restaurant where there was a million people coming over to talk to me because it was I was the keynote speaker. And he sat there so proud that I'm his friend, he loved all the people around. And then we talked about moving forward in our journeys and what do you need for an hour. And he was going to Indianapolis the next day for a huge gig of his own and wanted to get packed and then come spend an hour that we could, brainstorm some stuff. He's just so caring and brilliant.
He is.
So anyway,
and these are the kind of people we want to put you in touch with because we are blessed. Yeah, we are blessed to have these people in our tribe and in our village. And we want them to be part of your village too, because they just, they're so uplifting. And like Kristen said, this is a message that you're going to have to hear over and over and over again because this is going to be one of these things, you're going to be up here and then you're going to be down here and then you're going to be. So we all need to be reminded of this. And we are so fortunate to be able to bring people to you that we know that can share this. And in fact, tomorrow we're going to be talking with, we're going to do kind of a thing on Sundays that's a little bit faith oriented because we also all need that.
Yeah, faith is a big one in our toolbox. So if it's not in yours, come visit us and you can see why on Sundays. And if you don't want to watch on Sundays, that's up to you. But on Sundays, we're dedicating that episode to the faith piece of our toolbox of resilience. And tomorrow we have Bester, who started
Bester Hughes,
a Women Who Pray Facebook page. And I love going on there every morning to see everybody sharing, and it's just positivity overload. Which I'm the kind of person that has to start my day that way because even with all the positivity, I end up crying in my Jeep at Costco.
Yeah, and again, that goes back to what we, bringing this conversation full circle. You have to honor that. You have to honor all of those places and those things that you experience in a day and recognize them and validate them and just choose not to live in the valleys. Choose not to live there.
I just keep building that toolbox and tapping into it because if I didn't have all those tools, if I didn't start with Esther's Bible verse this morning and knowing that I was going to be working with Mary Fran today and having my kids who are going to continue, if I didn't have all the relationships and all of my tools, I probably would have been in the Costco parking lot still. I would have not known how to get up and out of it and been overwhelmed, but I was able to move forward. So anyway, I guess we'll wrap this up and say tune in to those other episodes. And then look, we've committed to being here every day during this whole crazy thing, and then we'll see where it goes after that once everyone is lifted and we can be out in the open again. But for now, we're going to teach everything we know and all of our friends the stuff that they know so that you guys can come out of this incredibly brilliantly resilient.
Yes, and brilliant, not broken.
Brilliant, not broken.
Brilliant, not broken. That's what we're shooting for. So we'll be we'll be putting these episodes on Facebook. We're trying to figure out how to do this whole live thing so that we can encourage conversation. But until that happens, we are at least making sure that you have recordings. So they'll be on our Brilliantly Resilient Facebook page. Share them. We're going to be sharing them to our personal pages. We'll be here live on YouTube. Everything's going to be recorded and then put on our YouTube channel. So we'll have access for you to all of this stuff.
Our world tour is still happening.
It's still happening.
Way different than planned.
We're
Okay.
making it happen. We're diving in.
All right. See ya.
Bye.